From the east, house of light, may wisdom dawn in us, so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us, so we may know all from within. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Yum Hunab Gu Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Yum Hunab Gu Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Yum Hunab Gu Eva Maya E Ma Ho. All hail the harmony of mind and nature.
And so it is. Welcome to Beata's Tiny House Village. This is health and well-being. Well-being meaning your soul. May your soul be in health, not just your mind and your body, but being is a word that means soul energy, soul energy. So thank you for joining me. I'm a little late today. And if you're on Facebook following me, you would have seen my live video this morning at 9, where I was at the school, the school of fish, the fish school, swim school. My grandson children, both of them have been in a swim lesson all week from 9 to 9:30. And I realized that yesterday, oh my goodness, that's where I do my show. So I had to do a little juggling this morning and change the time out. So thank you if you're here. I appreciate your waiting and coming in at this time. And you can go to my Facebook page and see a little video of the school, the swim school, where my grandchildren have learned to improve their skills. And they may not go any further than that, but I am an athlete. Swimming has always been my best sport, my strongest sport. So I just made sure this year my grandchildren had a whole week of breaststroke, front crawl, butterfly kick, dolphin kick, and some treading water. So that's why I'm a little late. So thank you for joining me. Let's get busy in the village. If you're new here on the Beata's Tiny House Village, every Friday we talk about health. And I'm going to share a few videos with you as usual about the need for us to understand the law of karma and of man so we avoid suffering. A lot of suffering has been in the news today, and we're going to talk about that. But first, let me greet my village wanderers.
The cook put it in her. The cook put in her. En her kabos in this order. The cook recurs curd in her. The cook put it in her. The cook put in her. I look deep my dress.
So grateful to have had that journey. All those pictures in that video were taken by me. And I'm so grateful to have had that journey to bring me into this small space that I'm in that is teaching me discipline and love for small spaces, because I had 20 years in a 4-bedroom, 3 bath house with a pool, 2-car garage. And there's a lot of, I did all the cleaning. I didn't hire anybody to do that. That's a lot of work. So when I see people excited about a McMansion, I'm like, ugh, enjoy it while you can, because that stuff gets old. If you got to pay somebody to do that, they're not cheap these days. So anyway, I'm just grateful that that journey I took with tiny house exploration taught me that I don't need a big house when I'm now divorced and single. So welcome everyone. We come here every Friday morning to do some breath work, because this is the key to maintaining perfect health is your breath work. If you can perfect this, you're going to be in good health, because so many people are walking around, they're not breathing, they're just existing. But when you take in oxygen consciously every day and diffuse the stress that comes your way, oh, you'll be in good health. You'll be in good health. And then there's EFT, tapping out the triggers. I'm here to show you how to have a longevity in your life and how to live medicine free if you want. That's what I do. No drugs for me from Big Pharma, and very little supplements anymore. I'm just doing a lot of mushroom tea and a lot of I do eggs. I do eat eggs. That's my protein, and smoothies. So you can do it. You can do it. Hang with me. And if you are struggling with that, I do have a program on my website that, along with the books I sell, that can help you achieve your health and healing goals. And go to yourholisticlifecoach.com and you'll see my 6-week program that I offer that can help you achieve perfect health. It can be done. But today, let's just get our breath work and our heart torus movement in, because every morning it's a fly moment. First, love yourself. FLY. That's how you have longevity. You can't spend your whole life helping other people and ignoring this temple, this mind, this being. You gotta fly. As you get older, it's all about fly at first thing in the morning. Nobody else gets your attention. Hopefully you don't have to go off to Walmart and be a greeter, but spend time in the morning with fly mode. First, loving yourself. So that's what we do here first thing Friday morning. Let's do some fly energy, loving ourselves. Rolling joints, we've called it, but now I call it meditative joint rolling. Because as I play this heart torus video, it gives you an image of what's going on energetically and with your body when you're moving, how your aura is creating this beautiful, colorful surrounding of vibration and energy when you consciously are moving your body in a certain way to activate the cosmic portals in your joints, all of them, and to create health and well-being. That's what we're all about here. So let's get ready, get comfortable. Hope you're either sitting and straight spine if you can. And we're going to start. Just let's take a deep breath. I was rushed to get here on time because I left the swim school at 10 and I had like 20 minutes to get here and set up and all that. So I give thanks for being disciplined and organized. In fact, I have a job next week for the whole week organizing a disabled veteran's house as she moves her stuff out of a pod thing. So excited to be able to help her organize. So are you ready? Let's just take 3 deep breaths and then continue that as we're moving. Inhaling through your nose, hold it for 4, let it go. Inhaling once again through your nose, hold it, let it go. This time, inhale through your mouth. Hold it and blow it out. See what feels comfortable for you, because breath work is not strict and uniform. It's developing an exercise, a lifestyle for you personally, either through your nose breathing. Sometimes nose is the best. Breathing in, holding it, letting it go through the mouth, or breathing in through the nose, holding it, and letting it go through the nose. Trying it through the mouth, inhaling. Don't use here, but down here, the belly. The belly should go out, and then lift up the lungs, and then let the belly go in, belly out, and hold it, and belly in again. So let's get busy. Let's start with the neck. And I'm going to put on our heart Taurus music so we can visualize, not only do the movement, but I want you to visualize what's going on energetically with you as you are moving your breath. Okay, what's happening? Your sacred geometry is being with the neck rolling. Love. Just a little. So. Now let's move to the other side. Microbiome is getting push up. And how are you feeling? How are we feeling after all that? Ooh, all that heart Taurus energy moving. I hope it has increased your energy or at least feeling your body alive and awake. So let's just touch on our vagus nerve because that tree of life, that trunk from your brain stem to all throughout your body wants some attention every day. So let's place our hands on the back of our neck, squeeze and release, squeeze and release. Ooh, breathe in and release. Breathe in and release. Breathe in and release. Let's just get some lymphatic massage going right here under the ears. Just rub down into the collarbone, get those lymphatic glands activated and dumping out the garbage. We are dumping out the garbage with some massage around the collarbone. And then just let's give a pat to this area, especially if you have pain. It releases the constriction, the blockages. Tap all the way down underneath, all around the chest, the thymus gland, all the way down the leg, the arm. Love, love, love energy going here, all the way to the underarm, around the breast. Always get under the breast. Do some smooth, gentle massage around the breast, and then go around the navel. Give your colon area a little pat. And let's not forget the kidney area. So many people on dialysis because they haven't been loving their kidneys. Right here, the kidneys and adrenal glands. Just send some love there. Love, gentle pat. Love, 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 love. Woo, whoo. How are we feeling there? How are we feeling? Take inventory. So we're gonna put some music on and we'll be right back. I'm going to go to my studio where we can get busy learning about understanding the importance of understanding the law of karma and a man to improve and protect your health. We're talking about protecting your health, and we're going to get into the story of the week. Okay. But for now, let's just
loud. On the bed, boom, bad, the cool type of gal. The cook's a hopper, a car, papa, R. Benenza, put the cook, and a order. Go who's to get a limit to order. A zempa, I can keep a cataract, a theater can hand. Tashi, I wish you up a sound, come on. The fear who the comedy, a cal at noon. I kick the geek, a boot, you whip hard to sad. I knew get a horse, we can pop my garage. I knew I went for book, pop a leg. I knew I got what you I could get that. I knew you could do it, I could tradition ain't yet. I knew you could do it, la mother was part of that. I do free pop.
All right, so we're back. We're in the studio. Let's get busy talking about how we need to understand the law of karma and the law that's on the books of man so we prevent health problems. So I want to start with this Karmelo Anthony story. Started last year. I was following last year. It's amazing how fast time goes. But when this event first took place, it was all over social media or YouTube, especially. And I was following every day what was going on because it would seem like a psyop of sorts, psychological operation to divide and conquer again. And I followed it like every day. And I think I even did a show on it. And here we are a year later, where this teenager has gone to trial and been convicted of murder and 35 years. It's like, what? Everything happened so fast. And yet people are angry because of it. And all the information that has come out over the year. And then this year, they tried to say this young man was jumped by 4 people. And yet the trial didn't reveal this at all. But there's one story, one side that said he was beat up by these kids, and that's why he pulled the knife out. And the trial itself didn't bring that out at all. They had several witnesses to say what happened, what they saw, what they thought happened. Nobody talked about him being beat up by 4 people. So let's talk about our need to understand law and prevent your 17-year-old child going to prison. This is like a parent's worst nightmare. So last year when this event took place, the stress began with his parents and with the parents of the teenager who was killed. That grief doesn't go away for a long time. So we're looking at stress in 2 families that has come a whole year of waiting and wondering what's going to happen in the trial, especially the young man who took the knife out. All that stress has accumulated in their bodies, believe me. So you can bet everybody involved in that has health issues right now, unless they know how to process it, respond. Now, the father of the young man who was stabbed right away went into forgiveness. That was the really end. We're going to show you something about that. But I want to show this attorney's viewpoint. Hello? Yes. I'm getting interrupted by my grandson. I don't want to miss this opportunity. What's up?
Do you have any matches?
Matches over there in that. Okay, so I'm doing the show, and what are you going to do with that match?
I'm going to light it like this.
Okay, outside, not inside. Okay, you're going to look over there in that container. You see some matches, but I want you to do that outside. Don't be in the house, because I don't think your dad wants you in the house. Anyway, grandson interruption here. I appreciate and love this little boy so much that if he interrupts, I want to give him my attention. Is that all you needed?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. You're done, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, see you later, alligator.
Bye.
Bye. Love you. So let me start with a video from an attorney who gives a very interesting perspective on this case that so many people are angry about, saying it was unfair. They say they had an all-white jury. Now that's strange. They did have an Oriental and a Mexican minorities on the jury, so I guess you wouldn't count them as being fair. But the majority of the jurors were white, and the defendant is black. So that has caused stress. Just let's look at this from a health perspective, and that's how I look at it. Stress is the way you respond or react is what will kill you. Stress itself won't kill you, but I want to just help us respond to stresses like this in a way that brings peace and calm to the body, not keeps you in constriction mode that causes cancer and all other diseases. The stress has been there for a whole year. So let's look at the end result of all this. And what this attorney has to say is important for us understanding the law of man, period, and the law of karma. Because this attorney, interestingly enough, brings in some karmic wisdom about what has happened over the last year. Okay. So let's take a minute to listen to a professional attorney. And the title of this is Karmelo Anthony Camp's Worst Mistake. Humiliating the victim's father, 20 more years for Karmelo. That's how this lead attorney diagnoses this. Who made the mistakes and how now they got to pay for it.
Extra years in prison, so many extra years. You wanted me to expound on that further because you had not heard anyone make that point. Well, that's why I'm here. I'm giving you the perspective, not of a YouTuber reacting to news, but of an attorney who's practiced for more than 20 years. This is behind the scenes info, so let's get to it. Now, let me explain on how Karmelo's mother basically sentenced her own son, Karmelo, to an extra 10 to 30 more years in prison and what she can do about it now to try to fix it. I explained in my last video that Karmelo's mother apparently hired a family spokesperson, one Dominique Alexander. This Dominique calls himself a minister of justice, whatever that is. Dominique is a convicted felon. He's alleged to have beaten his girlfriend. Then he got a new girlfriend. And when that girlfriend left out of the apartment, the good minister grabbed that woman's 2-year-old baby and shook him until that baby got brain damage. The good minister pled guilty in that case to felony charges and was in prison. Now, this is the man that Karmelo's mom chose to speak on Karmelo and the family's behalf. The good baby shaking minister.
Now, this all came out last year. This is old information, actually, because we heard about all this last year, hiring this convicted felon and how he behaved. Step one of karmic energy coming back in your face.
Minister did exactly what you would expect a convicted felon to do when handling Karmelo's case. He absolutely destroyed it. How? He ostracized the most important person in Karmelo's case. Now, who is that? Is that the judge? No. Is that the prosecutor? No. The most important person alive in Karmelo's case is actually Jeff Metcalf, the father of the young man that Karmelo Anthony killed, Austin Metcalf. The father, Jeff Metcalf, is the linchpin to Karmelo's entire future. Let me tell you that in a murder case where the victim is gone, the case lives on through the victim's next of kin. When a parent has to bury his child, everyone looks to that parent to gauge how to react. Judges consciously and subconsciously look at the parent's facial expression when they're testifying on the witness stand. Prosecutors run all their plea offers through the parents. Reporters knock on the parents' doors for statements, and they aim their cameras at the parents when the verdicts drop. And the jurors, oh my goodness, the jurors hang on every word of the parents, notice every little movement, every gesture. In this case, Jeff Metcalf, the father, is not just a spectator in the case, he's the conscience of the entire community. If you win Jeff, you win all the sympathy. But if you alienate him, you can go to prison for life. Now, months ago, Jeff Metcalf, the father, he did something unthinkable. Reporters, as they always do, shoved a microphone in this grieving father's face and asked him, "How do you feel about this Karmelo Anthony?" Do you know what he said? Jeff Metcalf said, and I quote, "You know what? I've already forgiven this person. Already." Now, that is amazing. It's amazing that Jeff would have the strength to do that because I would be incapable of that. The maturity, the wisdom, the strength, I just would not have it. Now, that baby shaking minister is not going to know this, but when a father makes a statement like that, a statement of forgiveness, the entire Karmelo team has to drop everything. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Your entire legal strategy has to change. I can tell you as an attorney that you call an emergency meeting with all the lawyers, all the family, maybe PR consultants if the family has means for that. You bring everyone together to get them on the same page and let them know that this case will revolve around one person, Jeff Metcalf, the father. So when Karmelo's mother heard what Jeff said about her son, what do you think that this lady did? She handed the microphone at a press conference to the baby shaking minister of justice. And at that press conference where Jeff Metcalf showed up to pray with the family, the baby shaking minister called the police and had Jeff kicked out. Like, can you believe it? They kicked Jeff Metcalf, who came there to pray. They kicked him out of the press conference. The entire spectacle went viral within an hour. And do you know what else? Karmelo Anthony's prison sentence was prolonged by 10 to 25 years within that same hour. Now, why do I say that? What did the family show Jeff in that instance? Jeff, the father. They showed Jeff that there was no remorse. They showed Jeff that there would be no mutual prayers. There would be no reconciliation. Showed that man nothing but hostility and aggression.
Now, are you getting the picture of karma? I hope that, because karma is first. We haven't even gotten into the law that has created the 35-year prison sentence. There's an actual law on the books in Texas. But the karma of relationships in that situation that are not responding with loving compassion, with respect, with prayers. Instead, it's like humiliation. Get out of here. We don't want to hear from you. Even though your son was the one who put the knife in my son's chest, I'm going to say, get out of here. I don't want to pray. Total lack of wisdom. And they created a karmic energy to reap what they sowed, which was not respect and humility and compassion, but hatred.
The same hostility, the same aggression, maybe. That
hostility, the response to the father, the victim's father saying, let's pray, I forgive you, was hostility and hatred. And now we have more hatred by a community that thinks this is all wrong and he doesn't deserve to go to prison. But the karma, I'm showing you the karma is so strong in this case because they created this whirlwind of hostility instead of love.
Was at that track meet that fateful afternoon, that was under that tent. Some of you are not going to appreciate how important this father is. You just don't know how these criminal sentences work. I see your comments on YouTube and Twitter. You think, oh, this person killed that person, so put the killer in prison and throw away the key. Put him there for life. That's what you guys say. You have no idea. I will tell you that people kill people all the time, and the sentences range from insanity on the low end to insanity on the high end. Now, who controls where the sentence is going to fall? At the end of the day, it is the sentiment of the community that will decide. And in this case, Jeff Metcalf is at the center of that entire community. Now, let's do this. Let's suppose it is your first day of law school, and I am your criminal law professor. I am going to tell you some quick facts, and you tell me the sentence that you would give in this scenario if you were the jury, if you were the judge. But first, and this is important, put right now for the record what you think Karmelo should be sentenced to in the comments. Put it below. Now, here is the quiz. I want everybody to take it. Here's the first case, 4 cases. A 16-year-old in Texas, basically the same age and state of Karmelo. He gets hammered, consuming alcohol, consuming drugs. He does the whole thing. He gets behind the wheel of a vehicle. Of course, he gets into an accident. Now, here's the thing. He kills 4 people. He intentionally gets hammered and gets cooked, and then he takes 4 lives. Now, little law student of mine, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to determine how many years in prison you would give him. Ready? Go. And while you are considering your sentence, just know that in this case, the affluenza case, if you're old enough to remember, this young man, he took 4 lives. But how many years did the judge give him? Well, the judge gave him 10 years for taking 4 lives. 10 years. But here's the kicker. It wasn't 10 years of prison. The judge gave him 10 years of straight probation. This man took 4 lives and got a straight probationary sentence, not 1 day in prison. Did you guess it? Did you guess 0 years? Now, here is the second of 4 scenarios. A football player gets hammered just the same. He gets into his Bentley, he's an NFL player, and starts speeding. Of course, he runs over a guy, kills him dead. How many years in prison did this NFL player get for the killing? Now, the victim is gone forever. You got 5 seconds to guess. How many years? And while you are considering how many years, all you football fans know that Mike Vick, the quarterback of the great Atlanta Falcons, got 2 years in prison for dog fighting. That's 2 years in prison for dogs. How many years did this NFL player get for actually killing a man? That's right. Dante Stallworth gets hammered, gets in his car, and kills a man in the street. He gets 30 days in the county jail. No prison at all. Just 30 days in jail. Mike Vick gets 2 years in prison for dogs. Now, my little law student, you ask, well, how can that be? What happened in that case? Well, I'll tell you. Dante Stallworth showed extreme remorse. He apologized. And most importantly, he reached a financial settlement with the family. Dante went into his pocket and got the family on his side. Now, let me ask you, did Karmelo Anthony's family do that? Dante slid the victim's family some money. Karmelo Anthony's family got over $500,000. Did Carmelo's mom do any of that? Did the mom even offer to pay for the funeral? Guys, I'm going to tell you, you do not know there are so many levels to criminal law. Now, 2 more quizzes to go. You're my law student and you are guessing these sentences, but there are a few of you that are listening, maybe 4 to 6, that are going to get an A in my class. You're going to be the A students. You're going to say, well, Professor Lead, I can distinguish those cases. In both of those cases, yes, the defendants did kill their victims, but it really wasn't intentional because they were under the influence and they were driving. The Karmelo Anthony case is different. It was not vehicular. It was with a knife. There was direct violence. Now, if you thought of that, then you would get an A in my class. That's a great point. So let me give you a case that is a little closer to home. Now, let's take a pause from this Karmelo Anthony insanity for a second to have a quick word from our sponsor, Chapter Medicare. If someone you love is on Medicare, this matters. The Department of Justice. A guy gets mad at his wife, and rightly so. He thinks that she's cheating on him. He goes and loads up his shotgun. He goes outside where she's standing. Now, she's unarmed, and she's recording him on her phone. He cocks the shotgun and points it directly at her teeth. He says, all right, goodbye. You are going to meet Jesus. And then he blows her away. She was unarmed and in Texas. Do you know who else was unarmed? Do you know who else was in Texas? That's right, Anthony Metcalf, Carmelo's victim. Now, the jury in the case with the husband gave that man just 10 years in prison, and he is eligible for parole after only 5 years. Think about it, 5 years in prison for a straight up killing. I am positive that every single one of you would have said, lock him up for life, lock him up forever. She's a woman. She was unarmed. She didn't even hit him. And he only got 10 years with maybe 5 years to serve. Now you ask, well, Professor Lead, why so little time? Well, the defense team in that case did a great job of humanizing the husband, humanizing the killer, and getting the jury on his side. The jury didn't hate the killer. In Carmelo's case, do you think the jury would hate Karmelo if Austin's father, Jeff, pleaded with the jury for mercy, pleaded with the jury for grace, is seen praying and reconciling and crying with the Karmelo family? Everyone in that courtroom would be crying, listening to Jeff's victim impact statement. The judge would be crying. The bailiffs would be crying. The attorneys would be crying. The jury. Believe me, everyone in that courthouse would have their eyes full of tears. At the end of the day, we are all human. Karmelo would have been spared. He would have not gotten a lot of time. You can absolutely get a judge and jury on your side. You just have to know how to do do it. Now, and this is the last case, and this is for all of my A students. Let's go back to the vehicular homicide cases. You think that you can get off easy by killing somebody with your car, remember? Remember when you thought, oh, well, it's because the guy who killed 4 people was driving. That's why he got 0 years in prison. Okay, that guy killed 4 people. What about a guy that killed 6 people in his car at a parade? You've got 5 seconds to consider how many years this guy would get for killing 6 people. If the first guy got 0 years in prison for killing 4 people, how many years in prison did this guy get for killing 6 people? All right, you got your answer? Don't you know that this guy got 1,000 years? 1,000. They calculated it out to like 1,067 years. He got 6 life sentences and an additional 760 years for the people that he hurt with his car. Now, how do you go from 0 to 1,000? Well, this guy got every single person in the community to hate him. Darrell Brooks never apologized to any of the family members and was hostile to everyone in the courthouse during his court case. The judge ended up blasting him. So now, my law student, you can see the importance of getting the families, getting the community on your side. It can be the difference between 0 years and 1,000 years. Is the Karmelo family doing that? Is the Karmelo family getting the Austin Metcalf family on their side by kicking out Austin's father at the press conference? It's insanity how they are handling the Karmelo case, and Karmelo will pay the price. Now, people have asked, they said, well, Lee, if you represented the Karmelo family, how would you have handled it if Jeff Metcalf showed up at the press conference? Guys, there are so many ways that this press conference could have been used to benefit not only Karmelo, but both families' entire well-being. I would have already talked to Karmelo's family about how important Jeff is to the entire case. Hopefully, the Karmelo family would have already communicated with Jeff numerous times, expressing remorse, expressing sorrow, offering apologies for the incident. And if Jeff shows up at that press conference, guess what? We are not having a Karmelo press conference anymore. We are having a joint press conference. And guess what else? Jeff Metcalf gets the microphone first. He gets the spotlight. We stand behind him while he talks. He gets the first words and he can talk for as long as he wants. Now, a few of you might say, well, what happens if he goes off the rails? What happens if he starts saying bad things about Karmelo? Well, good. Let him say it. He's not saying anything that we all haven't felt. And you know what we do? We stand there behind him and we take it. We take our loss with grace and patience and understanding. This man just lost a son. We are taking all of his heat. We know.
Okay. That video goes a little long. If you're interested in watching the end of it, I can send you the link. But I think you get the idea, I hope, about the karmic energy. Over a year ago, that started this whole drama scene. And as he explained, it's all about your attitude. If you're the one, the aggressor, and they're saying, well, the guys jumped them, the law, here's the deciding factor in this case that a lot of people maybe have missed, but what I've heard is that in Texas, the good old Texas boys out there in Texas, you don't take risk with Texas boys in that environment. In Texas, if you slap someone or are asserting yourself on someone with your hands, and then the person returns with extreme force, like a knife or a gun or a bullet, that's considered murder. Let me repeat that. In Texas, and it might be other states as well, this is why you need to understand the law when you're living anywhere. If you're going to be aggressive, you better know what the consequences are. But in Texas, you cannot exceed the force that comes upon you to defend yourself, protect yourself, whatever. In this case, it's easy to see how the force, even if it was 4 guys who jumped him, they didn't have a gun, they didn't have a knife, they didn't have bats as far as we know. And that's not being revealed at all in this case. All the witnesses from the defense and the other side say that there were only 3 people involved, and there was pushing and shoving and bullying and all that. But none of the initial contacts were using the force of a knife or a gun or a bat or anything serious. So that is a law that has caused this young 17-year-old to be sentenced to 35 years in prison for murder. He didn't know the law. His family didn't know the law. In fact, they hired this unequipped man to represent them who showed no compassion, no remorse, no humility. And as the attorney stated, that's what will get you more time in prison. Now, that is a universal spiritual law that we need to be teaching in our elementary schools. I think if you go back to my Wednesday show where Dr. Amani lays out the curriculum for not only people who are incarcerated, but Dr. Amani has worked with children and in schools for the program that he can teach our children conflict resolution. And in my position, emotional intelligence. This whole Karmelo case was lacking wisdom, lacking conflict resolution skills, and especially lacking emotional intelligence. Because if you find yourself in a conflict, you want to protect your health, first of all. Your health, if you stay in that conflict, especially a long period of time, that's what develops cancer. That's what my German New Medicine Board chart is all about. It has taught me all the diseases that show up when you have a chronic conflict in your life that you don't resolve. So we are here today trying to help our brothers and sisters come out of the anger, come out of the cursing, come out of the racist attitudes or racist comments. Oh, this was all about race. I hope you see in that example of the attorney that it has nothing to do with race at all. When you look at the situation of whether it's a vehicle manslaughter or a knife, the 1,000-year sentence versus no sentence, it's all about energy. The energy that is put out in the community, in the families involved. It's all about energy, because that's the karmic force that will come back to you, excuse me, and cause you to be in prison for 35 years. So here we are. Let's see. Do we have any comments on this? I'm curious to know what you think after being in law school for the last 10 minutes. Got great law. That was a brilliant law teaching. And I learned just a lot in this week about the law in Texas. You cannot exceed the force that comes upon you and murder somebody and cause someone's life to end. In Texas, that's the law. I'm sorry. People are saying it's not fair. It was self-defense. Well, you should have checked the law in Texas first before you bought a knife in your backpack. My grandson even made that comment. I went for a walk with them the other day, my grandchildren, and I explained this case to them. I didn't use race or color or anything. I just explained how a 17-year-old kid stabbed another kid. He had a knife. And the first thing that came out of my grandson's mouth was, why would he put a knife in his backpack? He must have intended to hurt him. And I was like, oh, okay, there's the attorney for you. I didn't say, and it had nothing to do with color. They didn't know what color they were or anything. My 9-year-old grandson right away said he must have intended to hurt him if he put a knife in his backpack. There you go. Out of the mouth of babes. So my whole intention today is to help us come out of anger, resentment, sadness, grief, and realize where we are in our ignorance of the law, especially of karma, as the attorney pointed out. If you don't want to join the victim's father in prayer to show your remorse, you've already created a 35-year sentence. A year later, this happened a year ago. And that action that they took to reject the prayers of the victim's father, who had already forgiven Karmelo and is still sad, that was the crucifixion or the lynching, that you rejected prayer and forgiveness, and you decided, no, we're going to do a self. It was also, you're going to deny the events that have already come out, and now you're going to say it was self-defense, and we're going to fight that to the end, instead of recognizing, as the attorney pointed out, the remorse that you needed to respond with when the father of the victim says he's forgiven. Bad karma, bad karma. And it took a whole year for that karma to show us how the consequences of that behavior play out. I think we have some comments here. Let me see. Francis says, let me put her on. Francis Harris says, love your interaction with the grands. Oh, I'm having the time of my life with these grands because they challenge me. Thank you, Francis. I have no choice. My son needs my help. He works 8-hour job every day, and they're all in summer school. So I was just glad to have them go to swimming class. That's my favorite sport. But after today, I don't know if they will. And so Francis says, I haven't checked the lead attorney in a couple of years. Thanks for sharing. Oh, it's good to know that you're familiar with him. I love that. I'm subscribing to his channel because we don't want to be ignorant anymore. This case is really revealing our ignorance if you're angry and upset that he's getting 35 years. I hope after today you'll be calming down and praying for the Karmelo family and even the other family, that they will come out of their grief, because that's going to help affect their health. Everybody involved is going to have health problems. Believe me, if they hold on to the grief, the sadness, you're going to have health problems. That's the way the body works. The body wants homeostasis. The body wants peace. And so here's another comment. Interesting point of views. Absolutely. 964 Dr. D. Absolutely. I was educated this week on this whole case all over again, even though I followed it diligently last year when the first thing happened. I thought I knew everything, but when this case showed up again, I'm like, oh, they're back. I thought they had settled this. No, it just came back to court. And when I learned how the law in Texas says, blah, 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 if you use a greater force on someone than they used on you, and you caused their life to end, prison time, buddy. In fact, Mama AZ and I call this vacation Bible school time. You're going to prison for a while, and you bring out the Bibles and all the books. There's a guy in Chicago, Mohammed is his name. He's running for Senate. He spent, I think it was 20 years in prison. He read 3,000 books while he was in there. Now he's back out helping Chicago get their life together, their act together. And he's the most amazing person, in my opinion, for a formerly incarcerated individual, because he read books while he was in there. Karmelo, get your reading glasses out. It's time, because your family's screwed up. I'm going to say this, parents, a lot of parents are missing in action. What parent in the first place allows a 17-year-old to put a knife in his backpack? Parents who think like him. Like, I'm going to defend myself with a knife. If I'm being bullied, if my children had said they're being bullied, I would have been up at the school figuring out who's doing the bullying. Let's have a meeting. Let's resolve this right away. Conflict resolution, we need to bring that into our elementary schools, wherever you are. If you have an opportunity to work in the volunteer in the schools, let's think prevention, conflict resolution, and emotional intelligence is lacking. That's what this case is revealing to all of us, if we choose to open our mind and stop trying to defend him because he's black. That's bullshit. Because as you just heard from the black attorney, that's not how things work. It has nothing really to do with race. The problem in this case was they showed no remorse, none whatsoever. And I remember that last year. No remorse whatsoever. It was defend, defend, defend. I'm right, they're wrong. And no reaching out. They raised all this money and they didn't reach out to the victims' parents because they felt like they were justified. He was justified defending himself because he was attacked by all these white boys and all that, blah, 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 blah. And that's the narrative they stuck with. And guess where it got them? 35 years. The jury didn't think. Now, they might appeal because they feel like an all-white jury, even though it had a Mexican and an Asian person on the jury, that doesn't count. So we got to do this over again. You're going to do it over again? You're going to get the same. My thought, you're going to get the same results because you still used more force than you originally received. And that's the law of man. Now, the law of the Creator is mercy, grace, love, compassion. The monks marched for 2,000 miles, and last year they showed up at the beginning of the year, and that's when this thing was actually going on. And if they were listening to the monks' message of mindfulness, walk for peace, they might have come out differently in this whole court case. Because if they had gone to the victim's family and asked for forgiveness themselves for their son's behavior, it might have come out differently in the community that, oh, this family is showing some remorse. But nope, if you're going to say we're right and you're wrong, and we're not going to have any sympathy for you that you've lost your child, at least your child will be spent. You can go visit him in prison and bring him gifts or whatever. But that family never again will see that son. He's in the grave. So think about that. How do we respond in situations like this without looking at color of the skin? We have, the Black community has a hard time doing that. It's always a race thing. When the attorney just pointed out, it has really nothing to do with race. It really has a lot to do with the energy that each victim, that each accuser puts out to give himself a better image, not just in the community, but with the Creator and the universe. Our job is to always, always have the best image from a universal perspective, from the Creator's viewpoint. We want the best image from the higher point of view. We want to have overstanding. We want to give out the love energy that the monks taught us for 2,000 miles, 112 days. Have loving compassion and mindfulness. This is how you keep your health and your strength, and this is how you stay out of prison. Because you're going to get, as we talked about last night, Mama AZ brought out her journey with A.A. Allen, and I brought out my journey with the Hawks. Now it's like I'm paying full attention to the people, the animals that show up in my life. What is this message? What are you trying to tell me? Let me listen. And then let me meditate on that and change my behavior if I need to. Because if I ever get into an encounter like that, I want to immediately respond with loving compassion, kindness, and love and peace. Because guess what? Your angel's going to keep you out of prison when you respond that way. When you're going to react with remorse, no remorse, I'm right and you're wrong, and this stupid person they hired to represent them with no character whatsoever, it's like, what were you thinking? They weren't thinking. And they especially were not thinking of, they weren't in consciousness mode. Like, ooh, what are the repercussions? What are the consequences if I behave this way versus this way? This is how we keep our health and our peace, is we have consciousness and we think beforehand, how are we going to behave in any situation, any conflict? How are we going to respond and not react? And unfortunately, the Karmelo Anthony family reacted to create what we have seen this week, a prison sentence. The jury had no mercy on them. 3 hours deliberation. All the people, even the defense had witnesses that said what happened. The energy had already been put out in the universe. So his destiny was already sealed, because they had been putting out this no remorse energy for a whole goddamn year. Excuse my French. A whole year, nobody pulled their coat to say, nah, you might not want to do that because your energy in the cosmic order is kind of bad right now. It's not going to end well with you. Nobody pulled their coats on this. So I'm just putting this out today to say, let us prevent now. Let's get into prevention. Now that we've seen the drama play out and the consequences, and we've learned a lesson in law school just now, 10 minutes of law school. If you need to go back and listen, please do, of the lessons. He gave some great lessons of four examples of people who caused the death of other people, but they didn't get 35 years. Now, this attorney has been in practice over 20 years. So I think we could listen to him and his experience to save our lives, to keep our children out of prison. I'm so grateful that my two adult sons, who are now in their 40s, they're 40 and 45, never went to prison, never been arrested. It's only by the grace of the Most High, but it's also by my consciousness, my journey, my assignment to keep them out of prison with the Bible, with lessons. And they had a great dad. They have a great father image, a man of high integrity, and lots of wisdom. They had two elements in their life, me and their dad, that kept them out of prison and never been arrested, and they're doing well today. That's because me and his dad learned how to represent integrity, wisdom in training them up the way they ended up now. And that's what we need to take from the Karmelo incident. Wisdom. Don't ever respond to a situation like that where someone dies with no remorse. You have, as the Buddhist monks taught us, you got to respond with loving kindness, compassion, and peace. That's how you stay out of prison. And so let us, all of us here today who are listening, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you share this with the community that's angry and that's cursing out the white man. Every white man they see now, they're going to curse out because they think they did Karmelo wrong because he's black. Show them the law school we just went through to show that it is not about race at all. It's really more about the energy you're putting out. No matter what color you are, your energy is going to decide your fate. And let us all use that heart Taurus energy that we use every Friday morning, moving around our body and creating this protective aura around us that will give us no sentence whatsoever. Even if we mistakenly cause harm to someone, as he said in that law lesson, you could end up with no probation. You could end up with probation instead of a prison sentence. But it's all about your thoughts, your mouth, your attitude, and your beliefs, whether you're going to end up in prison or ending up free or doing your thing with a healthy mind, body, and spirit. Your mouth will get you in trouble, creating a prison sentence. Your mind, your thoughts will get you in trouble, creating a prison sentence. Your belief system, if you think you're waiting for a savior and that's going to help you get out of, I think the Karmelo family considered themselves praying family, but didn't work because your mouth, your thoughts, and your actions totally negated your prayers, and you have no remorse. How are you going to pray and then have no remorse? You need to take on the mind of Christ. Take on the mind of Christ. You don't need a savior, in my opinion, and take on the belief attitude that this is a sacred temple that needs protection at all costs, especially watching your mouth, watching your thoughts, and your belief system. So that's my message for today. Thank you so much for hanging in here. Please share it with the community that's having a hard time with this. I hope people are relaxing now and realizing they created this mess. And now we are here to learn the lesson. We get to watch Karmelo Anthony's story and hopefully prevent it in any more children, young people. Let's go to elementary school. I'm ready to go to elementary school, and let's create a program with Dr. Armani's lesson plan. excuse me, on Wednesday. If you missed that show, go to my Wednesday YouTube channel. My YouTube channel, watch Dr. Armani's curriculum for those who are incarcerated and unfortunately those who are on their way to that. Lots of lessons today for all of us to love one another no matter the skin color. It's not about race. We're gonna have a hard time learning that. It really isn't. This racist society that we like to talk about is all about ignorance. Just like this law school we just went through, it was all about ignorance. How many of you knew all those cases and why certain people got no prison and this one got prison? I hope that's clear today, that your law that's on the books of your state will determine one thing, but before they even got to the courtroom of man, they were in the courtroom of the Most High Creator, angelic forces, and they created a sentence way before the jury decided. We send prayers to both families today that they would heal, that they would be restored, and that they would learn the lessons and create a more wise environment in their families. And that all of us would work diligently to have more compassion, more love, and more peace in our communities, and not create more conflict and hate. We have enough of that. That's why we have unending wars, because it's revealed what's in our heart in times like this. And then the wars keep going because the energy we put out, conflict, the Zionist mafia will create more wars because that's what they're being stimulated to do by us. So let us be wiser, smarter, stop the conflict, walk in peace, as the monks have told us to do. Every day, today is going to be my peaceful day. The grandchildren wrote that this morning and we had a peaceful day. Yesterday, we didn't do that. It was not peaceful at all. But today, change of my attitude and mind. So let me see. Okay. So thank you. I think we got to all the comments. And thank you all for being here. I have a meeting in like 10 minutes. So namaste. Sat Nam. Take a deep breath today. Enjoy the weather. Ashe, Ashe, oh. And all my indigenous brothers and sisters. Aho, Aho family. We love you. Stay in peace at all costs, because these times are rough right now. Mwah. Love you. Shalom.